Hey, everybody. Welcome to Missouri Carnivore. It has been 2 days since I had my hip replacement surgery. I just want to thank you all. Sorry, it's a little emotional, but thank you for y'all's thoughts, prayers, your good vibes. It means a lot. Thank you so much. I did what I did. I walked out of that surgical center Friday because that's what I wanted to do, and I exactly did that. And I want to thank each and one of y'all here, and family, friends that supported, and it is greatly appreciated. I am so humbled. Um, as we go in, I want to say hi to a few people, and then I will explain how my recovery is going. First person that chimed in today was Amy, Keto Rockstar. She says, "Hi, Kelly, stopping in to say hi. She's doing an interview 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, and once she's done, she's gonna join back in. So enjoy that interview. Looking forward to finding out if you're interviewing somebody or that they're interviewing you. So that'd be awesome to see that replay. And then thinking for myself, hi, how you doing? And then Leslie in the Carnivore. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by today. It is great to have. It is great to find that you have people that are like-minded in your area, your state, and close to you. And I want to give a special shout out to Leslie Ann because she reached out to me last weekend because there's stuff I want to do, hiking, kayaking, stuff like that. And it's so hard to find when you have this new mindset, when you want to do this stuff, but yet everybody else don't want to do it because you have changed. You don't evolve your activities around food anymore. And I hate that. I do not want to involve my activities around food. I want to go have fun. Food for me is nourishment. That's it. Nourishment, vitamins and supplements, meds, MED, meat, eggs, dairy, if limited, and seafood, meat. That's it. Carnivore. And that's why, one of my new mottos is be carnivore strong because this journey so far, the second phase of this journey, like yesterday after I walked out of the surgical center Friday, because I was there at 5:30 a.m. on Friday morning. They rolled me in at 7 a.m. to the operating room. Next thing you know, I am waking up in the recovery room and I am moving around. Now, one thing that I do want to learn is and learn this lesson, because they will want you to eat. And I wish I'd have brought some pork rinds. And so they wanted me to eat, and I wish I had brought pork rinds and mineral water. I wish I'd have brought that, and because I had to pick the lesser of all the evils because it was nothing but duck food. So I had to pick the less of the evil of the duck food, and I really didn't want to take it down. I didn't want to choke it down, so I had to eat it. I got the applesauce. I didn't want nothing else, and I got a Sprite Zero. I just wanted water. That's all I wanted, but they wanted me something to eat. And it's like, I am not eating the duck food. So applesauce was the closest thing I was going to get. So if you ever have to do this, even if it's outpatient, make sure you bring carnivore approved snack, because otherwise they are going to give you duck food. And so, I choked that down. I did drink a little bit of that Sprite Zero, but I wanted water because I was thirsty. I didn't want food. I wanted water. I was starting ready to get up, get dressed and stuff like that. So as soon as I was up and around, it wasn't but maybe probably an hour after I was up and around, they got me dressed and I had to use the restroom. It was like, I'm not putting the catheter in. I was like, I'll go use the restroom. So she, with the walker, and the nurse helped me all the way there, went, used the restroom, got that. And after a while, I got some more water in me and, had to use the restroom again. But then it was about 12 o'clock 12:30, almost 1 o'clock. I was, as you saw the video, I was walking out of those surgical center doors, going home. I did have me a good treat. I had a New York strip. I decided I wasn't gonna eat Friday, but I decided I was getting hungry, so I decided to have a New York strip. Well, as I was cooking it, I was doing the air fryer method because it was quick for me, and I was reading the medication, trying to separate what I don't want to take and what I need to take. And I did have one little spell. I started getting sick to my stomach, which is probably the side effects of the anesthesia. So I went to the restroom. I went to my bathroom. Next thing I know, I'm lightheaded. It's hot. I'm sweaty. And I had to quickly, carefully just go to my bed. Once I laid in my bed, I was fine. My daughters came and checked on me, made sure I was all right. And I was fine. Matter of fact, they been there to visit with me. So I really have some great kids, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for you all. So I want to say hi to a few more people here. Lynn, 20 QQ Cats here. And then our duck and guana man, Rick, welcome. Glad you stopped by today. One thing about Rick, he's been carnivore for over 40 years, 43 years, 58 years old. He don't even look like he's 40. Never have not a gray hair on probably on his head. Then we got Amanda said, good afternoon, Kelly. Glad you stopped by today. Let's see, who else is here? Smoothie. This is Amy's neighbor up there in Mishawasha, South Bend area. Welcome. Glad you stopped by today. Everybody's saying hi. My good friend Brian from Gardner, Kansas. Glad you stopped by today. Thank you for stopping by. I am looking forward to meeting Brian in person next year. We are super excited about a meetup that Amy has started. It's going to be at Potato Creek State Park up in Indiana. And from August 12th through the 15th, 2027, I know I'll be there. Brian will be there. Amy will be there. I believe Brett, who's our carnivore, he's going to be there. He's the one that's going to be smoking the meat for the Saturday meal. Aaron, carnivore-ish guy, he's going to be there, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm hoping that we have a great time. I hope we have a great crowd there, because it'd be great to be a leading example of a proper human diet, what a proper human diet is. And I am so grateful for this proper human diet, because normally, people were giving me doubts. You have family and friends who'll say, oh, your second and third day of surgery, it's going to be the worst. I heard basically your third day, it's going to be the worst. You're going to be feeling all that pain and stuff. And I felt maybe my worst day was yesterday, day after surgery, and I was pretty well up and moving around. I slept most of the day because I needed the rest. I got a little rest Friday night, but my body woke up not into soreness and pain and stiffness, but it was mainly my body woke up and said, hey, wake up, let's get up and go. So I woke up and I went into the living room, walked around, figured a way to walk with the walker with my glass of water, held that. So when there's a will, this man has a way. And so I went in to sit down. I think I slept for a little bit longer. And then I got up a little bit throughout the day, but last night I fell asleep. I decided to sleep in my chair last night, and I think I had the best darn rest, because I know I woke up. I don't even remember turning the TV off in the living room. I know the lights were off, but I don't even remember I turned the TV off. Next thing I know, I'm just waking up wide awake and feeling great. And I got up for the first time without having any struggles. Hardly any pain. I hadn't even took any anti-inflammatory medicine. I hadn't took Tylenol yet. I hadn't done all that. So I am so beyond grateful that the pain has, I feel better on the second day after surgery. And so I think each day is going to get better. And I think it's because being on a strict carnivore diet really helps. So,
Can I say hi?
My daughter wants to say hi to everybody.
Hey, favorite person.
My daughters, that's my daughters, so they want to say hi.
I actually have a question.
Sorry, my daughter wanted to ask a question to get out of the house. So my oldest daughter she came for the week. She's going to go back home next week, but or back her home next week. But she's here, and it's great to see her. So that was my oldest daughter, Katie, and my youngest daughter, Cheyenne. So I want to say hi to a few more people. There's Donna Ray. Welcome. Glad you stop in. I'm driving, so not chatting until I get where I'm going, about 15 and 20 minutes. Well, definitely want to make sure you stay safe. Everyone's saying hi. Oh, here's Lizzie. Hi, Lizzie. I'm glad you stopped by today. And I know there's some other people that I'm missing. And here's Aaron, the Carnivore's guy. He said, good afternoon, Kelly and friends. I'm glad you stopped by today. And Leslie said, good intro for sure. Well, I am proud of my state I live in, and I'm going to work on, since I'm off for a while, that's a new updated intro, but I want to try to get every aspect of the state of Missouri, from every corner of the state to my area. And so, yeah, that intro is going to really blossom out more. So that's a work in progress. So as I'm new to trying to do these intros, an intro video, because the first one I did, I just overlaid pictures on a previous video that I just took from one of my archives. But this time I figured out how to do it. And so, yes, I am trying to get where I get 10-second, I'll try to do 10 minutes, and I like to get where it's every aspect of the state of Missouri. I got 2 of the covered bridges that we have. We have 3 to 4 covered bridges here in the state of Missouri. I have visited 2 of them that are close to my area, and one of them, I visited both of them, and one of them they have relocated to Percy State Park, which is probably an hour northwest of me, they call around Brookfield, Missouri. And so that's some of my adventures, because they have some nice hiking stuff up there. And even though it's in the northern part of the state, Missouri, I want to try to go to that state park, because I heard it's really neat. But my favorite areas is the Missouri Ozarks. I love the Missouri Ozarks. I'm going to venture into the Arkansas Ozarks too, but I love the Missouri Ozarks. I'm only less than an hour to the closest, the Missouri Ozark area. Some areas it may take you 3 or 4 hours, but I definitely love that area. But I want to definitely travel it. And there is 1 or 2 more covered bridges in the Ozarks area that I definitely want to go. And I want to see it in my lifetime. So I already saw 2 in Missouri. There's 1 or 2 more here in this state that I want to go see. So that is some of my adventures, especially after I recover. Everyone's saying hi. There's Jerry. Welcome, Jerry. I'm glad you stopped by today. I met Jerry a year ago in Montello, Wisconsin. I went to the Montello meetup that Carrie Mann, Healing Humanity, put on. It was great to meet Carrie Mann. I got to meet Jerry. This is where I got to meet Dr. Kiltz in person, Dr. Tony Hampton, Lisa Pickard, Adam Lacey, Dr. Nelson, Linda Vicky, Midlife Carnivore. She's part of Healing Humanity. And I know there was a couple more that I met in person there. Really great meetup. Carrie Mann, He's got full of energy. And what Kerry Man is doing, I am beyond grateful. He turned his life around. If you haven't seen Homestead Hal, please go subscribe to his channel. Go watch his video. Before I was carnivore, I was in the keto realm, and when I was in my worst pain, I was in more pain than I am now with this surgery. I have stiffness in that right hip, but I have way less pain than I did in 2024. And what really started inspiring me into thinking, I thought, well, going full carnivore is crazy. But when I saw Kerry Man had this bottle of pills that he used to take and he just tossed them behind him, I was amazed at saying, well, maybe there's something about it. And of course, me, I was going to go and debunk it, but it ended up debunking me. And I'm glad 2 years in it, and I feel good. And now I feel like now I'm in my next phase of my journey, and this hip replacement, because I'm going to explain a little bit what they have found, why they had it, what they found when they went in, and why I had the limitations like discrepancy and stuff like that, and why I wish I went carnivore 5 years ago instead of 2 years ago. So welcome. And Rick says, time to get quacky. Absolutely. I know there's somebody else. I'm missing some other people here because here's Jiffy. Welcome. I'm glad you stopped by today. Hey, it's Lewis. Glad you stopped by. Thank you for stopping by. He says, God bless you, Kelly. I've been thinking about you during your surgery. I am doing fantastic. Today I felt really great. I have to make sure I stay very careful, especially this next one, but next few weeks, 8 weeks, I definitely have to be careful. But today I felt great. I don't know how many times I went outside, and if there was a way I could get down, I wanted to so bad to get my feet into the grass. And I know this week I am going to do that. Because it just feels so great to the first time in a long time that I can stand up straight, not have a leg discrepancy, and actually be able to enjoy the quality of life. And so that right there is something that I it's never, I'm not taking it for granted, because it's a quality of life. And as I'm going to explain what they have found when they removed it, there was a bunch of bone spurs. 2021, when I discovered Dr. Berry, I decided I changed my life. I kind of started carnivore, but when I found Dr. Berg, I figured, it's best to be well balanced and stuff. So I went keto. And I ate clean keto. And problem is, I wasn't aware. I wasn't educated on plant toxins, oxalates, lectins, stuff like that. And I made my breads, almond meal, almond flour. I ate nuts. I ate raw almonds. I ate raw pecans. I ate raw walnuts. I had 8 to 10 cups of spinach a day. And I feel that a lot of that being keto contributed to the bone spurs, a lot of oxalate buildup. When I went carnivore, because not only that, my left knee was starting to get bad. I was having bad plantar fasciitis. I had bad inflammation. But all that, when I started going carnivore, all that went away, and the inflammation went away, but the actual discrepancy never went away. And now I know why. I had a bunch of oxalate built up bone spurs that caused me not to have the limitations. And when I looked in the mirror, I had a curvature in my back. I never had that before. And I had the curvature where my gut was sticking out when I was a lot heavier. When my back muscles were weak, when your muscles are weak because you're carrying this extra weight, you're not doing what you need to do. So yeah, you have the curve in, but I had a curve sideways. And now getting up, going outside, getting up, and I'm standing up straight like I'm supposed to. 6'2" and not 6'2" on the left side, but 6'1" on the other side. So an inch discrepancy, that's pretty big one there. Sparky Donna's here. I've never seen her on Jerry's channel earlier. Welcome. I'm glad you come and subscribe to the channel. Glad you stopped by today. And Leslie says, I love the friendship we recreated. Absolutely. I love it. And Jerry says, Redeemer Memory is on right now too, Gully. Yeah. They probably uploaded their video. They uploaded their video up on Sunday afternoon. And that's, if you want to see a great sermon that can be so convicting that you can see it and it's Bible, is strictly scripture related, go check out Redeemer Mobile. That's the church I go to. I've been going to it since 2019. Pastor Cole, he's straightforward, and even puts himself under the bus. We live in a broken, busted world, and we're all broken and busted, but without Jesus, we're nothing. And that's one thing great. Without Carnivore, a lot of us will be broken physically. I'm included. Here we go. There's Ivy. I knew Ivy was here. I just couldn't find her. So I'm glad and says, I'm so happy to see that you're doing good. Well, thank you. I am feeling good. Oh, there's Josephine. She's Josephine in the future. She's from Australia. She said, howdy, morning, beautiful Kelly, beautiful chat. Well, I'm glad you stopped by. Thank you for stopping by in this late. Yeah. Well, you're in the future. Who else is here? And then Danielle, thank you for stopping by. She says, bye, Kelly. I'm glad you're doing well. I am doing fantastic. I'm just grateful. I didn't know if I was going to do this live today, and because I didn't know how I was going to feel. I feel fantastic, and and thanks to you all. Your all's good vibes, your thoughts, your prayers, sending in my way. It's very thoughtful. It means a lot. Then we have Cindy and John. Welcome. Glad you stopped by today. Brian Dish is here. Thank you for stopping by today. There's Jesus and Carnivore. Thank you for stopping by today. I believe this is Becky. She is one from Missouri. I think this is Becky from Missouri, because I know if I'm not positive, if you're wrong, please correct me. But she's been Carnivore. I believe But I met Becky at the Montello meetup in person. Yep, that's what I thought. Yep. There's another Becky. There's her channel out there called Eats Like 1965. She's from Missouri as well. I like this. Thinking for myself said, Kelly, that is giving me goosebumps. It's so heartwarming to hear. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yep. This is Becky. That's what I thought. She is from Missouri. She's somewhere south between Kansas City, Joplin, Springfield, somewhere. I did get to meet her. She helps kind of out with the healing humanity because I met her in Montello last year. Yeah, around Nevada, Missouri. It was somewhere. So I'm glad you stopped by. I'm glad you found my life today. Leslie said, I was in the country this weekend, Buffalo, Missouri, camping, kayaking, watching fireworks. Great, clean fun with my bestie from the teenage years. She went carnivore too. And that's awesome. And that's one thing about it is like you never know that you could be inspiration. And that's why I want to give definitely a shout out to Leslie and because I didn't realize that I was a true inspiration, and I didn't realize that she was a true inspiration to me. And it's helped me get more strict carnivore determination and stuff like that. So it is great to have that. And now, her best friend that she had from her, high school days, teenage days, went carnivore as well. And that's the same way. I have a friend that I met in college, and I'm really good friends with him, and he went carnivore. I don't know. I need to check. I need to get a visit with him and see if how he's doing on it. But it is awesome. You never know how much a true inspiration you are, and that's why I'm great. And please go over to Leslie Ann's channel, Leslie Ann the Carnivore. She has a fireworks show that she had I think it's like a 3-minute video. It is pretty awesome. They do it down that area, like I guess in August and in May. And so I want to see that fireworks show because that is a great fireworks show. And Becky says, it's good seeing you, Kelly. It is good to see you. Glad you stopped by today. And then Rick says, thank you. Thanks for the reminding me of the Healing Man. And hopefully soon we can see the movie. I am looking forward to seeing it. I'm hoping soon. If it all suddenly comes to St. Louis, Kansas City, Columbia, well, I'm only 30 minutes from Columbia, but if we can get it, if it gets here in Missouri, even if it's Kansas City, Springfield, or St. Louis, I will go to it. I will drive. My plan is as soon as I get to graduate from the Walker, I will be driving. So yeah, if we get it in the next month, I will be there. I have the money put away. I will take my gas money. I will go because I want to see the movie. And it'd be great to see because if it is, you'll see the Healing Humanity team, especially Carrie Mann and Adam. It'd be good to see them again. All right, I'm all cut off. I can't hardly. I got one more comment here. It says, Kelly, that is so true. That is important. Everyone shares and reaches out, and you never know when you'll inspire someone to speak out directly to them. Absolutely, 100% true. Yeah, you never know. And that's one thing about it is like, I feel this is why I love this community. I love this. We're all over the country. We're all over the world, and we've come together to be a team, be a family, and be accountable and hold each other accountable and stay on track. Because that's the one thing about it is, for me is like I'm staying strict carnivore. Like I've been 7 days off of coffee and one thing about coffee is that sacred drink in the carnivore keto community, that especially the carnivore community, that, a lot of people like, oh, they don't want to talk about it. I'm not afraid to talk about it because I'm not saying you need to quit coffee. That is your choice. I'm just explaining why I quit coffee permanently is because I've done this in my early days in carnivore, my early days on the channel. I did a video where I got off the caffeine for 30 days. And then I missed something hot to drink that mornings, but I went right back to it. Back in around July 4th of this year, I decided to kick the habit and just see how I felt. I felt phenomenal. So my carniversary day, I decided to have a cup of coffee. Well, as time goes, I feel like I'm getting sensitive to caffeine, and the caffeine, I feel like it was affecting me, and I did not like the feeling. I didn't like the feeling at 3:00 in the afternoon when they said that caffeine should be wore off, that I feel like my heart's pumping out of my chest. I didn't feel the greatest, and I decided I ditched the coffee. I'm like, I don't feel like it. I don't like this feeling. I'm getting sensitive to it, and I've been off it for 7 days, and I actually don't even miss having anything hot to drink. Doesn't bother me. If I want something hot to drink, I can heat up some water and make hot, salty water. But I do not miss the coffee. A matter of fact, I really don't miss tea or anything like that. I don't even miss the soda. I don't care. And I just want to optimize my health, and especially going through this recovery phase, I want to heal. So like I'm limiting my dairy down to almost nothing. I'm eating mainly meat, eggs. That's what I'm eating, and that's what I want to do. And that's why, I like before my surgery, I decided I tried to make a carnivore pacemaker pizza and, enjoy it. But then from here on, I want to do strict carnivore because not only want to go through this recovery, I want to finish my weight loss journey. I want to get leaner. I'm at probably where I'm at is at my 10th, where I was in 10th grade at the weight, 277 pounds at 10th grade, 40 waist jeans, 10th grade. I know at one time, probably I want to get down to where I was in junior high. My goal is to get to 34, 36 waist, between 215 to 220. I'm happy there. And I want to finish getting lean. Bulking up muscle, I'm not no big deal in that. I get my daily exercise through work, but with this hip replace, I will get out and do a lot more walking and stuff like that. And so I'm one that I want to ultimate my health, and it can only get better and better from here. So I'm going to do everything I can to enjoy my life and enjoy being around everybody here. So that is my goal. So we're at the end of this. Let's see. Becky said, didn't we start around the same time? I started in 2024. It's 2 years. Around July 26, 2024 is when was my carniversary date. So no matter what, carnivore 2 years and counting. And the thing is one thing is Rick will agree with this one here. You eat the duck food, you're going to waddle like a duck. And that's where I am, where I feel that's where I feel like this is where I want to be. I feel the best on it. And now I have a great group of friends. I consider almost like family, great group of friends that I can actually relate to now. And because it is so hard when you are the lone wolf, it is so hard, even in your family. And my mom, she does low carb. She's gotten better, but you get around others, you get around family, and all you can do is be a living example, because it's different, because they don't understand why you did this, and they're thinking you're on a diet. No, it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle. It's a change. It's a journey. And for me, that is why I'm doing this. And now I have two passions. One passion, a lot of you all know that I go and build homes every year for families in Mexico, or people in Mexico that needs a home. Through a Christian-based organization, through our local church. We base it through our local church called Casas por Cristo. They based out of El Paso, Texas. They've been building homes since 1993 in Juarez, Acuna. Now it's Guatemala, Honduras, and Dominican Republic. And so that's one passion. Well, now I have another passion that I want to help people, because there is a way out. I mean, we have grocery stores. You go into the grocery store and all you can do is just shake your head back and forth and just say duck food. No wonder we're so sick. No wonder we're a sick nation. And then, what's truly inspiring is I think we ought to start supporting our local farmers, because you never know that you can find eggs cheaper, unwashed, pasture raised, chickens does chickens, eggs cheaper than you can buy the cheapest egg in the grocery store. But a lot of people complain. They say, carnivore is too expensive, but I have news for them. Carnivore is not expensive because you don't eat as much. You can shop around, and especially if you go local and you find that local farmer, you're going to get a good deal. And if you get a good deal, I would hold on to that, because that is great. And I was shown that just last week, and I'm going to start taking advantage of that. And then I'm going to start in my area. We have a farmers market in Columbia, Missouri. It's I went there last year, and it's sad that when the beef prices went sky high, I bought probably a lot of beef, and I bought it cheaper than I could buy at the store. And so my goal is I am going to start doing that. I'm going to start going local. I'm going to start finding, my meats. I have now resources, and this is the thing. You can cheaper. I know that some people in the cities are limited, but I know, if you're live in a city, check out your local farmers market, because they should have farmers markets. Now, unless you have laws and codes that keep that stuff out, but like I know Columbia has one every Saturday. I know a lot of areas are starting to do that, and I would take advantage of that, because you don't realize how much cheaper it is. So it definitely is a lot cheaper. And if you find your resources and you shop around, you research, you can actually find it. So, and just as Thinking for Myself says, local beef is going to be a must soon. Yeah, absolutely right. And then Becky, Jesus and Carnivore says, I buy meat for $3. It's less expensive than the so-called clean eating I used to do. And Brian Dish says, support your local farmers, ranchers. They grow cleaner beef usually. And that's what we have to do. Is we need to support our farmers, because what they want to do is try to push. I live in northern part of Missouri. I live luckily where I live. I don't have to worry about I don't have crop farm around me, but I don't live but 4 miles from all this. And I have seen in the last 20 years our pollinators disappearing. I'm seeing different bugs disappearing that we used to have. Our waterways are getting poisoned. And I know that the way they used to row crop and stuff has changed. And we went to this high technology stuff where they're killing the grass and they can plant this genetically modified seed instead of doing it the old way. And I was talking to my neighbor because she is saying, we need to support grain-fed beef versus grass-fed beef. And I told her, I said, all beef is grass-fed. It just depends which way. But I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. If it's a little bit grain finished, I'm fine with that, or grass finished. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to support my local farmers. But we were talking about how in the last 60, 70 years, how things has changed when it comes to planting corn and soybeans and all that. They used to have equipment where you did row cropping, you rotated, you had where you had high tall tractors that you cultivated the weeds out. You didn't have this glyphosate, you didn't have this weed killer, you didn't have herbicides. And now because of that, it's all changed. And like, one of my goals in the next year, as I get my debt paid down more and this hospital bill paid down, I want to get a reverse osmosis. I wish I could afford to do a well. I'd rather just do a deep well because I know the water's safer in my area. But it sadly is even some of our well water could be contaminated with the glyphosates, because my water source comes from northeast Missouri and the tributaries runs right through all this cropland. So yeah, that's it. That's the other thing that I'm trying, my best is to have better water. And I would love to do well water, but I can't afford to dig a well. So the next thing I can do is a reverse osmosis system where I can filter most of that stuff up there. And Leslie says, "Oh yeah, I want to check out the farmers market too. They have one I believe every Saturday in Columbia, Missouri, at the Ark. They call it the Ark. It's their activity center. They have a big pavilion that they built for a farmers market. It is really neat." And then Thinking for Myself says, "Nice. Reverse osmosis is amazing." Yeah, Becky says, "Oh Kelly, we got a reverse osmosis under 300. It is amazing." And Aaron says, "I would love for you to come to New York in the future and travel in some great areas and hike here." Oh, I would. As I go, I will definitely do that. And then of course Leslie says, "Aaron, he can pick me up on the way." Oh, absolutely. I'll say, "Where at?" And I will definitely pick you up. And then, of course, Aaron says, "Leslie Ann and Carnivore, that works for me." So that's the one thing about it is like, that's one thing about being with like-minded people. I am so grateful for that. So I am actually going to share the link here, and I'm going to pin it if someone wants to jump on. You're welcome to, because I love the company, and I am so happy to see everybody here today. Thank you so much. I didn't know if I was going to be doing this at all. And so here I am today, 2 days after hip replacement surgery. I walked out of the surgical centers Friday, and then 2 days later, I'm doing live. And then Aaron says, "You can take me to Arrowhead, and you will need another." You take me to Arrowhead, you'll need another hip surgery. I plan on not having another one. I'm good. One is good. My left hip is in good shape. I don't care if they said there was mild degenerative on it. I have full flexibility on that. But we have to make sure we get Brian up here as well if we're going to Arrowhead. That is the loudest stadium. I have watched a football game there. And as Brian says, Aaron, you wouldn't understand the ways of a winning football team. Sorry, you can't go. Aaron, the main thing you might want to have is earplugs or earmuffs. It is declared the loudest stadium in the whole country, and it is loud. And it's funny that last time I went to a football game, I went to see the Denver Broncos. I was the only one in Chiefs gear that we went together. Everybody else that I went with, because it was in Kansas City, they were supporting the Broncos. And as soon as I got there, I just let it go, because I'm from Missouri, and originally my team was the St. Louis Cardinals. But when they moved to Arizona, I was disappointed because, and that was a long time ago. I think I wasn't even in high school when they moved. I was disappointed, and it's like, but I have to support the Kansas City Chiefs. And Lance is here. Thank you, Lance, for stopping by. I said, congrats on the amazing recovery so far, Kelly. I have been listening, not really able to be in the chat. Well, I'm glad you stopped by. And then Becky says, Arrowhead is awesome. And I'm hoping that they don't move, because I'm hoping they don't move because that's been their home ever since the 70s. And I hate to see a move out of it, because I know what's going to happen. They're going to end up tearing it down. I know the Royals, because I'm a St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. I do follow the Royals a little bit, but I'm a big St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. And so they're actually I think they're going to move the Royals into downtown Kansas City, but they're talking about moving the Chiefs were talking about moving completely out onto the Kansas side over by the Speedway. But it's like, come on, it's been Missouri for a long time. And as Becky says the Chiefs are talking about moving too. I don't understand that. That's ignorant. I hope they don't move. You know, if you want to make improvements to the existing stadium, Arrowhead Stadium. And then Aaron said, I remember when they left St. Louis, the Cardinals. Yeah, I was disappointed. It's like, that was my team. I watched them, and I watched the St. Louis Cardinals, especially in the 80s. Ozzie Smith was my favorite ball player in the day. And now, and then now I haven't watched them in a while, but I am going to I'm definitely going to listen to them more. Probably listen to them a lot, because I listen to them on the radio station. And then Leslie says, I get my well water from my farmer. I take 5-gallon jugs and fill them up. That is a smart way to do it, because you're getting the good water. You know that water is not full of poison, full of chemicals and stuff like that. Chlorine that they said that's not good for us, that they put in swimming pools. I have to put that in a swimming pool, because by code, I have to keep it clean. And then Brian says the Chiefs have already done deal. They're coming to Kansas. They're about 12 miles from the original stadium. It's already set in motion. I figured that I figured that was coming. And then thinking for myself, I was a Kurt Warner fan. My first jersey was purchased when what I purchased. Yeah, I remember that when the Rams came to St. Louis, and now they're back in LA. See if there's any other comments. And Jerry asked me, "Did your surgeon do an anterior front or incision or a posterior rear cut?" Mine was on the side. Mine's on the side. They laid me on my side, Jerry, and because they marked where it is. So mine, they turned when they put the spinal tap in, and I went under. They rolled me to my side, and they did a side. They did it through my side of my hip. And Jerry says hers was anterior. See if there's anything else I miss. Brian had a question. I wonder if this question's what Jerry was mentioning. Which is the best way? That is a good question. I have no idea. That's a good question, Brian. I think it's whatever the surgeon decides which way is the best. For me, I guess he thought it'd be, for me, it goes through the side. And then Jerry said, my opinion is anterior. And Aaron was talking to Sparky Don. I said, there are parks throughout the state. I only have been to a few. So much more I want to see. There's always the hike in New York, New York City. I know New York State's got some pretty areas. Our upper New York State has some pretty areas. And then Becky said, good hanging out, y'all. I need to go clean an office. I'll try to catch you all again soon. Well, thank you for stopping by. Anytime. I will be here every Sunday, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'll be here every Sunday until I get back to work. And then when I'm back to work and back on the rotation call, I won't have my live when I'm on my call rotation. But probably for the next 12 to 14 weeks, I will be here every Sunday, probably except for when I go to Keto Palooza. And that is another exciting thing I'm looking forward to, because is Keto Palooza. It is coming here in October. Let me see if I can pull this up. Oh yeah, here, this one I almost thought about doing a detour here and go meet Chris and maybe have go meet him in Tennessee and then take that trip to Louisville. But I don't think I will do that. I think it'll be a little too much for me, especially be late. But here it is. Here it is, Keto Palooza 2026, October 8th through the 10th in Louisville, Kentucky, at Founders Union, U of L, or University of Louisville Shelby's campus. I am looking forward to this because I'll get to meet Dr. Barry. Of course, now the ticket is $239. I got mine a lot cheaper than that, and my hotel room didn't cost me anything because I used my voucher, my vacation voucher. I have a gift. I have a gift. I have what they gave us a gift through work. It started like 2 years ago. They gave us a Snappy gift. It's through Snappy, and they gave us, if you were there 5 years, you got a $2,500 vacation voucher. If you've been there 10 or more years, you got a $5,000. So my first year, I took half of that, and me and my daughter went to Nashville. My early days in Carnivore, and I felt better, even though I was a lot bigger. I was like 320 pounds. I wasn't probably even 30 days, but I could actually move around better than I did before that. And so what I love about that is like a company I worked for. They were willing to do this for their employees every 5 years, and so I still had half of that left. So in 2015, last year, or 2025, I've been with the company since 2010. So last year was my 15th work anniversary. So not only I got a gift. I got one gift. They gave me another $5,000 vacation voucher. I got this other gift, went through Snappy's where they went through. So I picked it. I said, okay, it's a vacation. I didn't realize that I had this built up. So I got with the travel agent. I had a travel agency that went through that. And I said, I am going to this event, and this is what I need to book a room for this day to this day. And sure enough, I couldn't go get the discount because it was already booked, the discount rate for Keto Palooza, but they got the room for me for the same price. And so I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to being there, having fun. I'll be already halfway into my hip surgery, my recovery. I may be walking with a cane, but I am looking forward to having so much fun. I know Amy's going to be there. Jerry's going to be there. I believe, I know I'll get to meet Dr. Barry, his wife, Nisha. They're going to be there. I think there's some keynote speakers. And so it is going to be awesome. And I'm looking forward to that. I've been looking forward to that ever since. Of course, Lewis lives in New York, and he is asking Aaron, we're in New York. Of course, Aaron lives in, Brian says Buffalo. He says, I live near Lake Ontario. I'm actually near Buffalo and Niagara Falls, equally between both. And Jerry says, wicked winters in Buffalo. Yeah, they get those lake effect snows. And he says the last few winters have not been bad. But he says, however, I am a blizzard baby myself. And of course, as Jerry said, now they call it Lake America US now. I don't understand why they changed the name. It's been like Ontario for years, but that's crazy. And then we have Carnivore STL Ken. Welcome. He said, all these chuck roasts has been $7.99 a pound for the longest time here in St. Louis. And last night I went there and they were $6.99 a pound. I hope the beef prices start to come down. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But the thing is I feel that to support the local farmers. My goal in the future is I have 25 acres, and in the future I like to do herd sheep. I like to do herd sheep and to have on this farm, but I also like to when I get a chance, I also want to buy a calf, where it's just weaned, fatten it up, and butchered get it butchered myself, because it is a lot cheaper. Sadly, it's a lot cheaper to do that than it is to go to the store and buy your meat. Even though the upfront cost may cost more, but in the long run, if you figure out what you buy versus the upfront cost, it's still a lot cheap. But and then Aaron was selling St. Louis. Ken called that is called winning. And then what I just mentioned, Leslie said, a great idea, Kelly. That's my goal. This next year I want to do some ventures, but I want to take this 25 acres of land my parents bought in 1984. This was land. Actually, matter of fact, they just put. Of course, they had bought. Also, part of it used to be another 12 acres on top of this, so there was like 37 acres. And they bought in 1984. My dad had the horse barn. We had horses. I grew up around horses, so we had horses. So in 1986, my dad got hurt on the railroad. So in 1986, while he was waiting for his settlement, waiting whatever that's going to happen, he had the horse barn built. We moved the horses down here because we have a conservation area called Rudolph Bennett Wildlife Area. My dad probably built a lot of horse trails. He built a lot of horse trails in the 70s. I watched my dad build horse trails in the 80s. I went through with him a couple times. So in 1988, my mom and dad, after my dad had his settlement through the railroad, after he got his back surgery and they got the settlement and he got disqualified, he got a settlement. So he built the house, which my mom currently lives in, 1988, moved down here in 88. Been living here. I think only was away for 10 years, but I moved back in 2016. They deeded me about almost 10 acres of land. And so I put a home on here and some of my goals is I've loved my youngest daughter wants to get horses, but I would love to have horses. But for me, my horseback riding days are done because one, it's too expensive. It's an expensive hobby. Especially, got to get the fences up. But when it comes to horses, especially traveling every year, got to get a horse trail. I have a truck, but probably need a bigger truck. So you got to find you a good used truck because the truck market is expensive. Then you got to have the horse trailer. And of course, you're going to get the living quarters, but camping outside is fine. You can do what you can means, but here comes the real more expensive part when it comes to horses. State of Missouri requires all horses get Coggins tested every year. It's a similar disease to what AIDS is, but it's in horses. And you got to get it. You got to get that. You got to get this. You got to get the West Nile. You got to get every vaccination. It's required by law, health paper. Otherwise, you cannot take your horse off the property. That's the kicker. Then you have the feed. Then you have the hay. And I rather put my land to usefulness like herd sheep, get a calf, fatten it up, stuff like that. Have my chickens, have chicken eggs. When chickens get old, butcher the chickens. Get some butchering chickens. Do the Joe Salatin method. Make it regenerative farming. 25 acres, you could do a lot on 25 acres. And I don't do the beds, but I have my raised beds out back that most of them are coming out. I'll keep a few in that if I want to try fermenting tomatoes, fermenting, making pickles, do some kind of fermentation on vegetables, or I may plant flowers for the pollinators, stuff like that. But most of the raised beds are coming out because I don't hardly eat much vegetables anymore. So no, I have, my plan is to turn this 25 acres into a useful farm. That is my goal. Yeah, Leslie says Aldi is not cheap here. $6.98 a pound per burger, and Amish sells local meat for $6.99. I'm disappointed in Aldi's. I haven't shopped at Aldi's because where I go to town to get food, my food, sadly is Walmart is not cheap either, but it's just as Aldi's is almost the same price. So I'm barely limited where I go to get my stuff, and I'm going to take the advantage. Eventually, when I get to a point, I'm taking the advantage of the cheaper prices because it's sad that I can probably go to somewhere like the Amish here, close to where she is, even with gas prices, and still get my meat cheaper. And Aaron said, I was reading a report a month or two ago that they do not expect beef prices to come down until late 2028. And this thing is like, it's supported by the imports to be 25%, but 25% less toxic. And yeah, that's the thing is like, it's what's going to happen is when they bring this beef in, it's just going to drive the beef prices down, and it's going to hurt our local farmers and stuff. And that's why we have to make sure that we support our local farmers and ranchers, because when bringing the, I know they're trying to make it cheaper in the stores, but good grief, if they would think about our farmers and ranchers here, I think things would have been a lot different. And as I believe, as thinking for myself says, stuff they process the meat with causes all kinds of diseases in other countries won't accept. Yeah, it's sad. Even Mexico every country's got processed food now. All this duck food that's processed. What's sad, even Mexico bans stuff in the food versus what the United States does. And so sadly it's like the other countries, sadly our country, I don't understand why why they get allowed to put this stuff in our food and stuff like that. But in my opinion is like they're trying to push this lab grown butter, this seal butter, and they're trying to push this lab grown meat. I'm sorry, I'm not going to eat that stuff. I will if it comes down to it. I have plenty of fish. I can go fishing. I got plenty of rabbits. I got plenty of tree rats, aka squirrels. I will learn to make them a heart attack style. And I also have some farmers here locally that I could make some deals to get meat, whatever it is. I also have resources now to get meat. So there's other ways around it. So
I'm saying out so much.
So, Aaron Booby Goats is here. Lab grown butter made with slop water. No way, thank you. Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to get off here. Thank you for everybody stopping by today. It was great for everybody. Once again, thank you for your support, your thoughts, your prayers. It is beyond grateful. It means so much to me. So I'm actually going to come off of here. It's time for me to get up and do some walking around. I want to get outside and get some fresh air again and get some more sun. So, like always, let's be kind, be positive, have a good attitude, and encourage and support one another. Y'all have a great day. God bless, and I will see y'all next Sunday.